afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. Here we go. It is that time again. Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast Channel 6 if you are in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Monday, August 21, 2023. We've got an exciting show for you today. Coming up in the second hour, our musical guest today is the band House Lights. That was their first single that I just played, Love and Understanding. I do love that song. Sometimes I play it even when they're not the musical guest. That's kind of one of my favorites. I have certain favorites that I like to play on the show. Such a great song. And Friday on the show, we ended the week with the world radio premiere of the new single from House Lights called No Longer Myself. Those guys are going to be coming in today, and they're going to do an acoustic performance of one of their songs. So really looking forward to that. And, our friend Sam Beechard, he's been on the show before, and great guy. He also has Always Forward, a great promotions company. He does a lot in the music scene. So we have much to discuss, and looking forward to hearing them play live in studio, too. That's going to be really cool. So that will be coming up today in the second hour of this show. Tomorrow on the show, very exciting, we have a bona fide presidential candidate coming in the first hour, Marianne Williamson. She is running for president. She is challenging Joe Biden for the nomination on the Democrats side. She'll be here tomorrow during the first hour, so really looking forward to that. And I've been checking out a couple of her other interviews. She's been on, she was recently on Bill Maher's podcast, Club Random, and I've seen her interviewed by the Young Turks, and she's been making the rounds. She's been on quite a few podcasts, but really looking forward to having her here on the radio show tomorrow in the first hour. And then in the second hour, we have a musical guest, actually two musical guests, Cody Pope and Byron G. Will be coming back in the second hour tomorrow. So that's going to be a great show. Looking forward to that a lot. Those guys are amazing. They were on the show a couple of months ago, and they came in actually and performed live. I'm not sure what the plan is with them for tomorrow, but hopefully it's more of the same. And, this month we're celebrating 50 years, the 50th anniversary of hip hop, starting in when it started back in New York City. So really looking forward to seeing those guys and talking with them and hanging out. So that will be tomorrow on the show. If you would like to join us today on the show, the studio line is open, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connarton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. And we'll say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat here quickly. Jenny is in there, of course. It says, Shalom, peeps. And also Mike from Queen City Cabinetry joins us in the chat room. Queen City Cabinetry, one of our great sponsors here at WMNH 95.3 FM, but also Mike is one of our co-hosts Friday nights on Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. So I get to hang out with Mike. That's a lot of fun. Oh, I see Chris H. from the band Edgewise joins us in the Facebook live chat as well. Hello, Chris. Oh, Paulie C just popped in. Oh, all of a sudden, a whole bunch of people just showed up at once in the chat room. I think I think Facebook might be lagging a little bit because I've never seen that many people just show up at once, but Facebook can be glitchy. Paulie C is in the Facebook live chat and says, hello from sunny Purgatory. Big fan. Purgatory. Well, say hello to Don Imus for us. JFed also in the chat room, of course, from the great state of Vermont, and says, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, JFed. Chris from Edgewise says, happy Monday. Yes, indeed. Let me, so I have to address something that's in the media, in the news, that transpired over the weekend. And I'm going to end up, in the course of doing this, I'm going to end up defending a certain political figure who I'm not really enthusiastic about defending. Oh, hello to Eric Street, who just joined us in the chat, as well as DJ Steve. Hello. This particular individual, he's a governor of a certain state, and he's running for president, and not someone I like. However, I have this thing. So I don't like it when I see things, when I see examples in the media of people's words being just edited and taken out of context. It really bothers me. And I don't like it when anyone does it. And I don't like it. Obviously, I don't like it when it's done to people that I like or maybe I agree with. I don't like it when it's done to people I don't like and disagree with. I don't like seeing it done to anybody. And, you know, some of it's baked into the cake, as they say. You know, for example, obviously, you know, you expect some degree of spin. Not that this makes it okay, but you expect some degree of spin. For example, in cable news, just, you know, obvious examples. If you're watching Fox, you expect a rightward spin on things. If you're watching MSNBC, you expect a leftward spin on things. And again, I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying any of that's okay, but it is what it is. Oh, hello to Karen Cubitt, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. Very busy chat room on this Monday. You know, that's something we kind of live with in big media, corporate media. But I saw something happening over the weekend, and it started specifically at CNN, and then it just kind of migrated. I do like to be, when criticizing media, I like to be kind of specific about what media I'm criticizing, because people will often talk about, quote unquote, the media, and they'll speak about the media in sort of this monolithic way. And I think it's a bit lazy, frankly, because in the media, you know, there are many different aspects and factions and layers and levels of media. It's not all just one thing. Clearly, you know, you've got conservative media, you've got liberal media, you've got big media, corporate media, and you've also got independent media, online media, and so forth. You know, you've got all kinds of media. You've got cable news and you've got political talk radio. You've got all kinds of media. So I don't like to speak about the media in a monolithic way. But I saw something transpire on CNN. And again, this then got picked up and kind of migrated outward. I heard it repeated this morning on Morning Joe on MSNBC. And now it's online media has picked up on it. And it's an example of this. This goes a bit beyond spin. It's an example of someone's words being edited in a way that makes it sound like they said something very different than what they actually were saying. And again, I don't like it. Regardless of how I feel about the person who is having that done to them, and in this case, it's somebody I frankly deeply dislike, but fair is fair. I don't like seeing, regardless of who it is, and having it done to them, and regardless of who it is who's doing it to them, I don't like to see it, and I like to call it out. But this example got called out live on the air. So Casey Hunt, she's got her show on CNN, and played a clip of Governor Ron DeSantis apparently disparaging Trump supporters. And it was a surprise, right? DeSantis calling Trump supporters listless vessels, which is kind of an insulting thing to say, because, you know, DeSantis's whole play has been, you know, try not to be too confrontational or critical of Trump, because if Trump should happen to falter, you know, DeSantis can be the one to kind of swoop in. That's been the play of many who are running for president. Not everybody, of course. Some people are being aggressive, going right at Trump, like Chris Christie, Asa Hutchinson, Will Hurd. That's about it. The rest of them are kind of like, yeah, you know, maybe we can be Veep, you know, who knows? Or maybe we can run again in 2028 if we don't upset the MAGA base. So pretty shocking to hear DeSantis say something like that about Trump supporters. Except, here's what happened. So I'm going to play the audio of this. Casey Hunt says, well, we have this. She plays this edited clip. Ken Cuccinelli, another person I'm not a big fan of, to be honest with you, but Ken Cuccinelli is there on set with her. He's on the panel, as well as, you know, representing Ron DeSantis, literally representing him, because he's the one who, Cuccinelli is the one who founded the Never Back Down super PAC. And Never Back Down was in the news at the end of last week because they're the ones who posted online the debate prep notes, this very long memo about all the things they wanted Governor DeSantis to do in the debate. That got posted publicly for all the world to see. And there's a reason why that happened. We talked about that last week. But anyway, that's Ken Cuccinelli. He started Never Back Down. So Ken Cuccinelli actually does a fact check on Casey Hunt in real time, live on air, and says, wait a minute, that's edited, and that's not what Governor DeSantis was saying. And again, I bring this up because when I see something like this, when I see something particularly egregious like this, you know, again, regardless of how I feel about the people involved, fair is fair. I feel driven to call it out. And by the way, you should want that too, regardless of how you feel about the people involved, because it's this kind of thing that causes people to not trust the media. And again, I don't like to speak about the media in monolithic terms, but this is an example of that just feeds into that, right? So I'm going to play this. Now, this is from CNN. And then after this, I'm going to play the actual, the clip of what DeSantis said without the edit, because I found that too. But here's the segment from Casey Hunt's show over the weekend. This was yesterday.
But there was a pretty interesting moment in a recent interview where Governor DeSantis talked about Trump supporters. He used the words listless vessels.
But he wasn't talking about Trump supporters.
Hold on. I'm going to play it for everybody, and then you can go ahead. Let's listen.
A movement can't be about the personality of one individual. If all we are is listless vessels that's just supposed to follow, you know, whatever happens to come down the pike on Truth Social every morning, that's not going to be a durable movement.
Everybody just saw there that there was a cut. You cut from the beginning of that quote to the listless vessels. You just did what the problem is. So everybody who just watched that, understand, go read the transcript.
Okay, fine. So you summarize for us what was.
Now, that's boy, that's a big no-no in corporate media. You're not supposed to call that out live on the air. I mean, good for him. Again, Ken Cuccinelli, another guy I'm not a big fan of. But good for him in that moment for calling that out. You don't ever see that. You know, you'll see somebody maybe say later, well, you know, so-and-so was reporting on this, and I think they took this out of context and whatnot. To see someone actually call that out in real time, I give him mad props, as I think the young people say that, right? I give him great credit for that because he's right. He's right. I mean, again, this is the same guy who thought it would be a good idea for the super PAC to post that memo for all the world to see about what he wanted DeSantis, how he wanted DeSantis to act in the debate coming up. So, you know, I won't give him too much credit, but I'll give him credit for this. I don't know if it was his decision to post that, but again, it's his super PAC. But let me back that up a little bit to where they come back from the clip, and then I do want to play the unedited version.
There was a cut. You cut from the beginning of that quote to the listless vessels. You just did what the problem is. So everybody who just watched that, understand, go read the transcript.
Okay, fine. So you summarize for us what was it that he was trying to say?
Well, first of all, his first point is an excellent point. This should be about America, not about individuals.
Fair. Okay.
And
how do we get from there to listless vessels?
Yes, well, the rest of an entire paragraph, by the way. I mean, there's a pretty big gap in your cut. So he's talking about some of the folks in D.C. who've endorsed Trump. He's talking about the more general environment and referring to all of us collectively. We can't just sit back and take all of this, be listless vessels. We have to move ahead with a different vision. That was not Trump assigned. And so folks, go read the transcript. You don't have to listen to me. You go read it yourself.
Here's one. Yeah.
He's right. He's absolutely right. And I want to play for you. Here it is. I want to play for you. This is the audio. This is the full, this is without the edit. So this is about a minute long, I think. Maybe a minute and 20. It's got, this is the audio of, well, it includes what he said in between that was edited out. Now listen carefully. And by the way, again, he's going to say some things here that I don't like the guy, but he says some things here I agree with. Okay, this is Governor Ron DeSantis. the unedited version of that clip. And there's a commercial playing. I got to get past this ad. This is from the Politico website. Apparently, they hit you with an ad. I do digital marketing. I can't complain about anything. But here we go.
Strand in our party.
Let me back that up to the beginning there. Actually, I missed the beginning. Here we go.
I think that we have a strand in our party that views supporting Trump as whether you are a rhino or not. And so you could be the most conservative person since sliced bread. Unless you're kissing his rear end, they will somehow call you a rhino. So it's been totally detached from principle and what you actually believe and results. And it's more about, just what faction you happen to do. So there'll be people who are huge Trump supporters, like in Congress, who have like incredibly liberal left-wing records that's really just atrocious. And yet they're viewed as by some of these folks as like really, really good. Then you have other people, like a Congressman Chip Roy, who's endorsed me, Congressman Thomas Massey. These guys have records of principle fighting the swamp that are second to none. And yet they will be attacked by some of these people and called rhinos. So it's just been totally detached from any type of substance. And ultimately, a movement can't be about the personality of one individual. The movement has got to be about what are you trying to achieve on behalf of the American people. And that's got to be based in principle. Because if you're not rooted in principle, if all we are is listless vessels that's just supposed to follow, whatever happens to come down the pike on Truth Social every morning, that's not going to be a durable movement.
So Cuccinelli was right. There was a lot more there. And when you hear what he actually said, he was not talking about Trump supporters. He wasn't talking about the typical, he was talking about Trump supporters in Congress. He was talking about the Republican establishment that largely supports Trump. But he wasn't talking about the voters. But that's how it's being spun. Oh, DeSantis trashes Trump voters as being listless vessels, which is not what he said. And again, I don't take great joy in defending this guy. I think he's toxic in terms of his politics. I think he puts a lot of hate out there. I've made no secret of how I feel about him and his messaging and all the anti-LGBTQ plus stuff that he puts out there. I think is really bad. I think it's toxic. I think it's nasty, and I think it takes us backward as a country, quite honestly. So I take no great joy in defending him. But that was pretty blatant what the media, now I just did it, the media, what certain elements in the media have been doing. And then with this moment specifically, and then, of course, the Trump campaign, and this is just smart politics, they pounce on it and they say, oh, look what DeSantis, he's insulting. He's insulting MAGA by calling everybody listless vessels. And of course, now they're using the distorted, the taken out of context version of DeSantis's comments. But again, that's just smart politics. And I want to actually, I want to play part of this again. I want to play the beginning of this again because he said something here that, he's been reluctant to say. JFed says, I heard him say he really dislikes Trump and his followers. Well, there might be some subtext there. He probably does. He probably does. I think they all hate Trump, to be honest with you, but they have to pretend to like him. Well, Mike Pence might genuinely like him, even though he almost got Pence and his family killed on January 6th. I think he still just can't help but love that guy. But let me play the beginning of this again.
I think that we have a strand in our party that views supporting Trump as whether you are a rhino or not. And
yeah, that's absolutely true, by the way. He hits on something that a lot of Republicans they don't like to acknowledge, but he says it, and it's true. It's really become, pre-Trump, it had already sort of become this thing where in the Republican Party, if you even so much as disagreed on anything in other words, say you, maybe you're pretty conservative consistently overall, but maybe you're willing to go with some additional gun regulation or something like that, then you're immediately called a rhino. It's like you step out of line on anything, you're called a rhino. Now the party has transformed as it's become, the party of Trump. It's a cult of personality. I think he even used that phrase, revolving around Trump. It's completely around Trump. So now it's become you're either with Trump or you're not. And if you're not with Trump, you're a rhino, a Republican in name only. And that's what he points out there. And I think he's absolutely correct. And he seems a bit baffled by it. And I don't blame him.
So you could be the most conservative person since sliced bread. Unless you're kissing his rear end, they will somehow call you a rhino. So
they say that about Liz Cheney, right? Liz Cheney, very conservative. But they pushed her out of leadership and replaced her with Elise Stefanik, who at the time at least was regarded largely as a more moderate Republican. But Liz Cheney went against Trump, so they said, you're a rhino, you're out of here.
Been totally detached from principle and what you actually believe and results, and it's more about just what faction you happen to do. So there'll be people who are huge Trump supporters, like in Congress, who have like incredibly liberal left-wing records that's really just atrocious.
Now he's exaggerating and being very hyperbolic. There's nobody. I mean, I was with him until that part, but now he's just that. Come on. There's people in Congress who are Trump supporters who have very liberal left-wing voting records. Obviously not. That's ridiculous. See, now he's actually kind of doing the thing that I was talking about before. Now he's doing it when he says that. When I talked about how before Trump, now it's you're either with Trump or you're not. And if you're not with Trump, you're a rhino. Before Trump, it was you're either a right-wing conservative and or you might step out of line on something. Could be anything. Well, I mean, some issues carry more weight than others, and you'll get called a rhino. And DeSantis is doing that here. He's doing that old school, again, pre-Trump thing where it was about the issues, but it was like, some of these Republicans have these left-wing liberal voting records. No, but, there might be a few that, they're okay with marriage equality or, maybe enhanced background checks on guns or whatever it is that, they don't toe the conservative line. And then, you react to that like, oh, look how left wing they are. I mean, I've seen that happen over and over again. So he gets a little ridiculous with that part. But the premise that he started with is correct. And Ken Cuccinelli was correct to call out Casey Hunt live on the air and say, that's dishonest, and you have edited that to make it look like something it's not. You know who who got it right? It surprised me a little bit, the New York Post. According to the New York Post, DeSantis called out Republicans in Congress and called them listless vessels. So the New York Post got it right. But I see a lot of media outlets picking this up, and they're going with the original CNN narrative, and it's just dishonest. Hello to Rhonda Favero, who joins us from the great state of California. Hi, Rhonda. I hope you're okay where you are. California, my God. I saw video over the weekend of, look, they're not used to this. The hurricane and an earthquake at once. That's apocalyptic. Seeing streets in Southern California flooding like that, just incredible. I think it was, if I remember correctly from what I read, it was their first actual tropical storm that had hit, Mexico and then Southern California into Las Vegas in 84 years. So, and California, they've had a run of, if you remember last winter, I remember at one point saying on the show, it seemed like California had a harsher winter than we did when they were getting all that snow, and it was just relentless. Parts of California that never see snow, and they've got snow up to the roofs of people's houses. Just crazy stuff. Oh, don't worry about climate change, though. It's all a hoax. Ron's on the line. Hey, Ron, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing, buddy?
Very well.
Hey,
Thank
I
you.
had no idea that because there's been a lot going on over here in my house. I had no idea that California suffered an earthquake. But are they still suffering from wildfires? And could this hurricane, either the winds make it worse or the rain help fight it? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know if there's any current wildfires in California or not, Ron. That's a good question. I mean, it seems like you could almost bet that there are, because it seems like there always are this time of year. But no, I don't know of any current wildfire. I don't think in Southern California there are, where they I mean, obviously all that rain would have helped with that, but I don't think so. I don't think so currently.
Other than that, I'm just going to listen to your show. But you brought that up, and I was just thinking, just what I just said. So I thought, wow, it could either make things worse, like it did in Hawaii, or maybe it could help, reduce the fire. So
right.
Yeah, thanks for doing the political thing, and that band was pretty cool. That opening song. I'm not a hard rock guy, but there was something there.
Yeah, they're going to be here in the second hour. Very excited.
All right, my friend.
All right, Ron, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Always nice to hear from our friend Ron. That does open up the studio line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007, if you would like to join us. Rhonda says in the chat room, lots of rain, fine today. Melanie said, Melanie La Liberty from the great state of Vermont, she says, what does Ron have going on at his house exactly? Now I'm super curious. Yeah, hope it's nothing bad. Eichmann Breezy and the Michael's Law, that must be the name of a pop singing group from Greensboro, North Carolina, says, compares to Trump from us, and us to say Trump to Trump, ex-President Trump. As always, I appreciate the deep political analysis there. Eichmann Breezy and the Michael's Law. Nice to see you. Carol Zaworowitz joins us in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Carol. Let's see. We have a call. Oh, this is Ron's calling back. Hey, Ron.
Yeah, don't ask me why, but I felt compelled to offer the reason why I said so much is going on.
Oh.
I spent the whole day with the IRS on hold, and then you get them on hold, and then, oops, we lost the call. So, yeah, I'm trying to take care of my father's tax issues, and that was it. So,
oh, okay.
For inquiring minds.
All right. Well, very good. Well, I hope you got it figured out, Ron. Did you get it figured out? Did you get it resolved?
Yeah, I did. And tomorrow I got a meeting at 8:30 in the federal courthouse to resolve all of this.
Oh, fun. Oh.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Ron. Bye-bye. And good luck. Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's nothing, nothing health related or anything like that. But Melanie says, I appreciate the clarification. Yes, indeed. 603-250-6007 is the studio line. 603-250-6007. Let's see. Yeah, Jenny sent me this. Trump's bond in Georgia election interference case set at $200,000. I'm sure he can afford it. He's a billionaire. Although apparently Rudy Giuliani, he still won't pay Rudy Giuliani for that legal work that he did. Eichmann Breezy and the Michael's Law says, hashtag Matt, that's right of us. We are from Greensboro, North Carolina, and Ron is a cool guy from us. Well, very nice. Oh, and hello to Chris Rose from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, who joins us in the chat. Let's see. It says here, the bond agreement came after Trump's lawyers met with officials from District Attorney Fonnie Willis's office inside the courthouse. It says here, former President Donald Trump has agreed to a $200,000 bond. Agreed? Well, I don't think he has a choice, does he? Well, his lawyers must have negotiated it, I suppose. $200,000 bond in the Georgia criminal case, charging him with trying to illegally overturn the 2020 presidential election results in the state under the terms of the consent bond order filed in court Monday afternoon. This just happened. Trump agreed to the bond amount on charges that include racketeering, criminal conspiracy, criminal solicitation, filing false documents, and making false statements. The order was signed off by Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee. The order, which was signed by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and Trump's attorneys, says that Trump, quote, shall perform no act to intimidate any person known to him or her to be a co-defendant or witness in this case or to otherwise obstruct the administration of justice, unquote. And we all know why that's in there, right? It also says the, quote, defendant shall make no direct or indirect threat of any nature against the community or to any property in the community. The above shall include, but are not limited to, posts on social media or reposts of posts made by another individual on social media, unquote. In other words, no threatening people, well, that's it, really. No threatening people or implying that you want other people to threaten people or anything like that. The filing was filed with the court after members of Trump's legal team these are, I'm laughing because I see this phrase, members of Trump's legal team, and then I see three names I don't recognize. How many lawyers has Trump been through? Drew Feinblain, Marissa Goldberg, and Jennifer Little were spotted entering the Fulton County Courthouse around 2:10 p.m., walking in the direction of the DA's office. They declined to comment to reporters on their way in. Willis last week hit the former president with 18 others with racketeering charges for allegedly scheming to overturn the results of the 2020 election. We know all of that. Let's see, skipping down a little bit. Other defendants agreed to bond packages with prosecutors this afternoon as well. As of late this afternoon, Trump's was the only one signed off on by Willis. The others were signed by her deputy. John Eastman, the lawyer charged with helping to orchestrate Trump's fake elector scheme, agreed to a $100,000 bond in the case on the charges including racketeering, criminal conspiracy, and filing false documents. Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee signed off on the agreement Monday afternoon. The filing shows, under the terms of the order, Eastman, quote, shall report to pretrial supervision every 30 days and shall perform no act to intimidate any person known to him or her to be a co-defendant or witness in the case or to otherwise obstruct the administration of justice, unquote. What was it that Hirschman said to him? He testified in the January 6th committee. He said, get a lawyer because you're going to need one. Get yourself a good lawyer. You're going to need one. But I think he didn't say it quite that way. He included some expletives, which I can't say here, obviously. The order also holds that Eastman, quote, shall not communicate in any way, directly or indirectly, about the facts of this case with any person known to him to be a co-defendant or witness in this case, except through his or her counsel, unquote, conditions Trump also agreed to. Eastman, who's referenced but not charged as a co-conspirator in special counsel Jack Smith's federal criminal case against Trump for allegedly trying to subvert the 2020 election results, features prominently and repeatedly in the DA's indictment. It goes on a bit about Eastman, but there's another aspect of this that I'm just very interested in to see where this goes. And some legal experts, which I certainly am not, I'm not an attorney or a legal expert of any kind. But Mark Meadows, of course, Trump's chief of staff at the end, the last one there, while all this was going on. Mark Meadows says his attorneys have filed two motions. One, to have the case dismissed, the charges dismissed in Georgia. His charges specifically. You've got 19 co-defendants, including Trump. One motion to have his charges dismissed, and the second, if not dismissed, to have his case removed from Georgia and to be made a federal case. And it might work. Some legal experts are saying it might not be as much of a long shot as you'd think. His attorneys might have a sound argument, not for the dismissal, but for the removal and moved to a federal court. It says here, this is from The Hill, Mark Meadows, who served as Trump's White House chief of staff, is urging a judge to dismiss criminal charges brought against him last week alongside his former boss. Meadows insisted he is immune from Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis's prosecution because the allegations are connected to his role as a federal official. Again, I'm not a legal expert of any kind, but so I say this only as a layman, but that sounds like that might be a sound argument, right? If he's doing all of this on behalf of Trump, doing it from the White House, not in Georgia. Now, the thing is, where he may have gotten caught up in this is Mark Meadows did go to Georgia at one point, and there are some conflicting accounts about his activity in Georgia while he was there, quote unquote, investigating or whatever term you want to use, potential voter fraud. So that might be where he gets caught up. But this actually could work in theory. So it says here, Meadows was indicted alongside Trump and 17 others last week in a sprawling racketeering indictment over alleged efforts to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results. Meadows faces 2 charges. After the indictment was filed, Meadows quickly began an attempt to move his case from state to federal court. Over the weekend, his attorneys went a step further and asked the judge weighing the attempted move to dismiss the charges against Meadows entirely. His attorneys wrote, quote, as a federal official at the time of the charged conduct, he is immune from state prosecution under the Supremacy Clause of the federal Constitution, unquote. Meadows has insisted he has immunity because the allegations, which include organizing calls between Georgia election officials and Trump, as well as meeting with Michigan lawmakers about unfounded claims of fraud, were part of his function as chief of staff and that he complied with federal law. His attorneys wrote, quote, the conduct charged here falls squarely within the scope of Mr. Meadows' duties as chief of staff and the federal policy underlying that role. He need show only some nexus, but here the connection is much closer than what that broad standard embraces, unquote. Meadows is so far the only of the 19 defendants to attempt to dismiss the charges ahead of the trial or move his case to federal court, though more are expected. Jeffrey Clark, as an indicted Justice Department official whom Trump wanted to make attorney general after the 2020 election, has signaled he may also raise an immunity defense to his charges under the Supremacy Clause. All defendants also face a deadline of Friday to surrender themselves to the Fulton County Court. So I think the Mark Meadows angle is interesting, and I do wonder, will that argument work? And I'm not saying that I think it will. I don't know, but I'll be very curious to find out. 603-250-6007 is the studio line if you'd like to join us, 603-250-6007. We will take your call. And I saw, this is something I saw on media. This kind of came out of nowhere, but I thought it was interesting, as of course we started at the top of the show talking about media and how, media has different, I don't like when people speak about the media in a monolithic way, and media has different levels and layers and factions and so forth. And in the conservative wing of the media, of course, you have, for example, Newsmax. There's a story here. Again, this is from Mediaite. Newsmax denies report alleging they tried to shake down Vivek Ramaswamy by offering coverage for cash. And by the way, that is how you pronounce his name. It's Vivek. I only know that because I saw him interviewed on another show where this particular host pronounced it Vivek, and Vivek thanked him for pronouncing his name correctly and said he was the only one. But he doesn't mind answering to Vivek. It says here, Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy reportedly told close associates that Newsmax CEO Chris Ruddy made clear he should pay to appear more on the network. Semaphores Max Tanney and Shelby Talcott summarized Ruddy's message to Ramaswamy in a devastating article yesterday. Semaphore reported that on a private phone call, Ramaswamy, quote, had complained that the right-leaning network was sticking him in little-watched midday slots or ignoring him outright, unquote. Ruddy's response to Ramaswamy was to make clear that if he, quote, wants to appear on Newsmax, he should pay to do it, unquote, reported the article, citing, quote, two people to whom the candidate described the conversation, unquote. Newsmax vehemently denied the report and added that soliciting political advertisements is commonplace. That's an interesting way to approach it. We vehemently deny this, but, would it really be so bad? In other words, Newsmax spokesperson Bill Daddy, oh, that's a fun name, Bill Daddy, replied to Semaphore in a statement declaring the notion, quote, that Newsmax is asking candidates to advertise in order to ensure coverage as some quid pro quo is categorically untrue and incorrect. Newsmax would take an assertion such as that very seriously. There is no correlation between advertising and editorial visibility for any candidate on Newsmax. If candidates want to reach our audience outside of our programming, then, of course, advertising would be a good way for them to do this. This is the basis of all political advertising, unquote. See, I like that. No, we're not doing anything wrong. But if we were to do something, it wouldn't be wrong. Scott Robinson says in the chat room, was the other show you saw him on, Matt Connarton, unsheathed? It absolutely was not, Scott. Absolutely not. Daddy added, quote, as is true for all networks. Oh, that's the same. This is a sloppily written article on Mediaite's part. They repeated that in another paragraph. Okay, Semaphore's editor-in-chief, Ben Smith, shared the story online and wrote, quote, this is actually a very serious allegation against Newsmax, which is under huge financial pressure right now from Dominion and Smartmatic, unquote. Yes, those lawsuits. Fox News can afford, Fox News can actually afford, what is it, like $270 million, that judgment, it was something like that. It was some obscene number. Fox can afford it. Newsmax, maybe not so much. Not as big as Fox. But Rupert Murdoch, he can afford it. He's got some deep pockets. To him, it's just the cost of doing business, right? But for Newsmax, that might not be so simple. The Semaphore story published Newsmax's lengthy denial, but also made clear that Ramaswamy's accusation is apparently indicative of a pattern at the network that also allows sitting members of Congress to host opinion shows. That's true. Matt Gaetz has a show on Newsmax. I don't recall another example of that phenomenon where, obviously a lot of people, when they leave politics, when they leave office or when they leave an administration, they go to work for one of the cable news outlets. Very, very common. I cannot think of another example off the top of my head, and there may be one I'm just not thinking of, where a sitting member of Congress who currently holds office goes and hosts a show on a cable news network. But yeah, Matt Gaetz, he's got that. He's got this podcast that he does that kind of resembles a cable news show. He's all set. If he ever gets voted out, he doesn't care. He'll be a social media influencer. He doesn't care. So let's see. Where is this from? Okay. Oh, this is from the report. So there's more to that report that Semaphore published. Quote, Ramaswamy's account of his conversation comes with a persuasive data point. Ruddy's comments, remember Chris Ruddy from Newsmax, Ruddy's comments, as reported by the candidate, raised the question of why else Newsmax would be devoting so much attention to Perry Johnson, who is more closely tied to the network than anyone except Trump, unquote. By the way, this next paragraph tells us who Perry Johnson is. Perry Johnson's name first came up on this show last week when we were looking at a list of candidates who had qualified for that first debate coming up in Milwaukee. And if you were listening, you might remember I sat here going, who is Perry Johnson? I've never even heard of this person, but he somehow is qualified for the debate coming up. And I don't know who Perry Johnson even is. Well, I still don't know, but I'm about to find out along with you if you didn't already know. It says here, Perry Johnson, a businessman and longshot GOP candidate who runs paid ads on Newsmax, has not only appeared regularly on Newsmax as a candidate, but has both hosted a primetime show on Sunday and is, quote, the focus of multiple recurring documentary-style shows on the cable channel about his campaign, unquote. Well, I don't, whatever. I mean, he's spending the money. Rob Dion joins us in the Facebook live chat. Rob, of course, part of the WMNH family. He has his own show Through the Stage Door, and he does Name That Tune Thursday mornings on The Morning Show with Peter White, which you can hear weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. here on WMNH with a replay from 2 to 4 p.m. right before this show. Let's see. We've got a few minutes left in this segment. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to be joined by members of the band House Lights. They're coming in for an acoustic performance. On Friday, we did the world radio premiere of their brand new single. They're going to come in and play for us live in studio in a little bit. So really looking forward to that. We'll save that. Oh, Sam Beechard is here. He's out in the hallway. We'll do one more quick thing. I just think it's kind of funny that I saw this phrase. This is trending right now, apparently, on social media. Giant murder wave in all caps. And when you hear a phrase like that, in the context of climate change and so forth and all this severe weather, you might think there was a giant wave of murder currently hitting the California coast or something like that. But apparently it's actually something Trump said about Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia. Giant murder wave. Trump takes attacks on Georgia Governor Brian Kemp to an absurd new level. I don't know. I kind of like it. It's in all caps with an exclamation point after it. It's dramatic. I don't know. I dig it. This is from Mediaite also, just something quick, and then we'll go to a break and get those guys in. It says, it is fair to say that former President Donald Trump is not a huge fan of Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, but the ex-president's animus, at least expressed on social media, went to new heights this morning when Trump blamed Kemp for what he called a giant murder wave. I wish I had some sort of effect, like an echo effect, that I could just activate when I say it. Be like, giant murder wave, wave, wave. I just think that'd be fun. At issue is Trump's eagerness to impeach Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis, who he labeled as, quote, crooked, competent, and highly partisan, unquote. Willis did indeed reveal her partisan nature during her campaign, which CNN's Ellie Honig brutally called out. But there is no evidence of her being crooked or corrupt, as Trump alleged. Nonetheless, Trump blamed Kemp and Willis for ostensibly allowing, quote, murder and other violent crime to massively escalate. It's in all caps. That's why I say it that way. Crime in Atlanta is worst in nation. Oh, here's the whole thing. I wish I could do a Trump impression. Here's the whole thing from Truth Social. Governor Brian Kemp is fighting hard against the impeachment of the crooked, incompetent, and highly partisan DA of Fulton County, Fonnie Willis, who has allowed murder and other violent crime to massively escalate. It's theater of the mind radio. Pretend you're hearing an echo effect every time I do that. Crime in Atlanta is worst in nation. She should be impeached for many reasons, not just the witch hunt. I did nothing wrong. Willis should focus on out-of-control murder, not I will get Trump over a perfect phone call. Georgia does not deserve this giant murder wave. By the way, I will just say, I do agree with Trump on one thing. I don't think Georgia deserves a giant murder wave. I don't think anybody deserves a giant murder wave. I mean, this is America. We don't need giant murder waves, okay? Unless it's look, if there's a tsunami coming and you want to point to it and say, look at that giant murder wave, that might be appropriate. But, other than that, I think that, this is something that we just shouldn't have. In fact, I'm going to take a position on that right now. This is my position. I am opposed to giant murder waves. Murder in general seems bad, but a giant murder wave seems extra bad. Probably because, I did almost drown once when I was a kid. My dad had to save me. So, the idea of a giant wave just full of murder, it's very disquieting to even contemplate. It says here, according to a recent Wallet Hub report, Atlanta is ranked 11th in the nation for violent crime and has seen an increase in murder rates over the past few years. No doubt Atlanta is not the safest city in the nation, but its problems do not seem materially different than any other urban areas in red and blue states. I don't know. I don't know where Trump got his information there. I don't think he got any information, actually. I think he just, he's probably sitting around going, I think giant murder wave would just look really cool in a Truth Social post. He also does that thing where he randomly capitalizes certain words for, I don't know what reason. Bothers me. Hello to our friend Miriam Banish, who joins us in the Facebook live chat and says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Miriam. All right, let's do this. I'm going to play a song because these guys are coming in. I'm going to play the new single, No Longer Myself, from the band House Lights. And I did see Sam Beechard in the hallway. So let's give this a listen, and then we'll show some love to our amazing sponsors. And then we'll be right back. Hour number 2, Numero Dos, coming right up. House Lights is here.
Holding on is hard to do when all these thoughts fall through your fingers. The words linger on your tongue. See through us blind from staring into the sun. Can you
down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria.
For delivery, call 603-782-8450.
Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town.
1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Best cocktails around.
Come in as friends and leave as family.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
WMNH, rip the knob off.
Welcome back, everybody, as we enter hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, also on Channel 6 on Comcast if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Monday, August 21, 2023. So nice to have you with me, and we've got some musicians in the house. So at the news desk, Sam Beechard returns. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I will let you introduce the new gentleman who I'm just meeting for the first time today.
All right. Well, yeah, this is Matt. He is the guitarist for House Lights and writes pretty much all the music.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing you guys play. And you guys have worked together for how long? Is this?
We met in college at Hesser College in Manchester way back in 2008.
Yep.
Probably.
So almost 15 years now.
Yeah. So we've been making music off and on ever since. Several hiatuses throughout. Life gets in the way, but we keep coming back to each other. We work really well together, and this is some of the best music that I feel like we've ever made together for sure. So
yeah, and I love the new single. We just gave that a little, give that a spin there. That No Longer Myself. That's great. And that just came out Friday, correct?
Yep.
Excellent. Well, you guys are gonna play something for us. What are you gonna play?
Yeah, we're gonna play a song called "Speak in Tongues." It's the second single off our album. It's coming out September 1st. Called "What It Means to Feel." In this song, just to give you kind of a synopsis on what it means. It's kind of a song about being really having difficulty being able to communicate, whether it be in a relationship that you have with anyone, a personal relationship, a work relationship, whatever it may be, trying to get the right words out and you just can't do it. So I think, I can certainly relate with that. I communicate best through music, so that's why I wrote this song. And yeah.
All right, very cool. Well, whenever you guys are ready, I'm looking forward to this a lot. We have House Lights here with us live in studio.
Cool.
Talk to you today before the words escape. Where do I start? Straight from my heart, thoughts fall apart. You're not understanding what's making you so angry. I'm messing up so badly. What'll it take to make you happy? You've gotta fight for something. There's no progress in pretending everything's just fine. Can't turn back time, there's no rewind. I took abuse today, could not articulate what I'm feeling inside this fragile mind I'm trying to hide. What am I not understanding? What's making me so angry? I'm messing up so badly. What'll it take to make me happy? We've gotta fight for something. There's no progress in pretending everything's just fine. Can't turn back time, there's no rewind. We can't outrun our feelings, have to face them to find healing. If we draw the line, we may just find we'll be alright. Alone I'll wait for you, knowing nothing can be perfect, or if it's even worth it, but I'll try it anyway. Can I still make you nervous? I can only dream of metamorphosis, hope for a chrysalis surface, breaking through the other side. How could I be so stupid? I lost you, chipping away at my old habits today. Thought I needed help on the way, I led us astray. Chipping away at my old habits today. Thought I needed help on the way, but now I'm okay. We're here to stay. You never understand me. Is that why we're so angry? I'm messing up so badly. This time I can make you happy. We've gotta fight for something. There's no progress in pretending everything's just fine. Can't turn back time, there's no rewind. We can't outrun our feelings, have to face them to find healing. If we draw the line, we may just find we'll be alright. Is it on us not to speak in tongues? You're holding your breath, say enough is enough. Yeah, I'm holding your breath.
Very nice. Very nice. We've got the guys from House Lights here with us in studio if you're just joining us. And that is called Speak in Tongues?
Yep.
That was the second single?
Second single, yep, off the new album.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
If you have anything for the guys, any questions or feedback or anything, the studio line is open, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connarton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is give us a call at 603-250-6007. I do see Eric Pilcher has joined us in the Facebook live chat. And Eichmann Breezy and the Michael's Law says, House Lights, we say, keep on rocking from us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. That's a long name, huh? Eichmann Breezy and the Michael's Law. So the album comes out, is it September 1st?
Yep.
Is that Very good.
Yep,
very
just
good.
in time for Labor Day. You can spend your weekend jamming it wherever you're traveling. So
How many tracks?
11.
11. Very good.
And we actually had 14 that we could have recorded, and so we have some potential material for the future, but a few that just didn't quite make the cut.
Oh, okay. What goes into that? What goes into that decision?
It really depends on a couple different things. So first, we want to pick obviously the ones that we think are strongest, and then you kind of look at like the flow of the album and what you think is going to make sense.
Yeah.
Because we'll try to blend a mix of different genres. We'll have songs that are more like pop punk, and then we'll have ones that are more metal, almost hardcore. So it's finding the right balance between everything.
Yeah.
You don't want to skew too much to one side. At least we don't want to. We want to like kind of show all the different influences that we've had throughout our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have performed music together for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did you have other actual bands before House Lights, or?
Yeah, we were in our first band was called Horns Become Halos.
Yeah. I remember, Sam. I remember you mentioning that name before, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool name."
Yeah. And then after that, that band kind of turned into House Lights over time. We had released House Lights has released an EP that's already on streaming called Stages. We released that back in 2014. And that was kind of like a concept album on how to deal with grief, like kind of the 5 stages of grief or death, if you've heard of that before. So that was a kind of a new thing for us doing a concept album. This isn't a concept album so much, but kind of all the songs are linked in the sense that they're all kind of an exploration and kind of like human emotion. I'm sure like Sam can talk more to that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when we talked back in April when I was in here with promoting Always Forward and stuff, it's like this album, not necessarily a concept album, but it's all, the lyrics are all related to personal experiences that I have every day.
Yeah.
That I have memories of, that I've gone through. So it's kind of a concept album for my my inner psyche, I guess you could say. Just me processing all the different things going on in life, and trying to find a way to, kind of, put a spin on them, hopeful spin, or just, come to terms with things and try to move on in any way that I can. And like Matt said, I mean, music is one of the ways that we know how to communicate best. And music is a universal language. I love that music can mean different things to different people.
Yeah.
You can listen to, 20 people listen to a song and every one of them can find a different meaning. And that's amazing to me. So very, very happy that we could get to do that every day.
And Matt, you write the music? Is that?
Yeah, I write the majority of the music. So I'll generally start with guitar, and the way I kind of do it, honestly, sometimes I'll just I'll go to my computer, I'll open up Logic, and I'll plug in my guitar, and I'll start recording and then play. So I won't even like jam first. I'll just start practicing, see what comes out, and if anything sticks, I've already got a demo track at least recorded, and then I can do it a little bit better. And tweak it and touch it up to how I want it to sound. And I think like especially Sam and I work so well because I think the music as I write it, a full song, I may have like kind of a sadder, sounding verse or maybe uplifting chorus, but towards the end of our bridges, we kind of have like there's a conclusion sound to it, kind of like a finite like kind of purpose. And I think Sam writes really good lyrics that kind of complements that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Now, have you guys played? Do you guys ever play out acoustic, just the two of you, like you did here today, or was that a first?
Really. Yeah, that was pretty much the first time.
Oh, no kidding! Oh, that's cool.
No, we again, we used to play around in Horns Become Halos. I think 2011 was our last show.
Yeah,
and neither of us have played live.
It's been a bit.
Not original music. I've done a couple little things here and there.
Yeah,
but nothing for House Lights yet.
Okay.
Okay. We've been working on getting the full band together. We finally have a second guitarist, so we've been charging ahead, practicing, learning the songs, trying to find a space to practice.
Oh yeah.
So that's always tough.
Yeah.
But we're on the lookout for a practice space so we can all get together and hopefully my original target was maybe end of the fall we'd be ready. So we'll see. We'll still try to hit that goal. But definitely be ready. As soon as we're ready, we'll be getting shows going. So
yeah, no doubt.
Totally like a non-conventional way to kind of build a band or start something where I just recorded a bunch of songs first, then we did the vocals, and then we said, hey, let's just, actually record these. Let's get them mixed. We found this great mixer on the Sound Better website, which is a website you can go to find like mixers, producers, etc. He's out of Argentina, which was awesome. So we got to work with someone really cool. They mixed and mastered the album for us. And then, now we're obviously trying to put together a live show. Because there's nothing like playing live. It's such a thrill. I love it.
Yeah. When you guys were in the other band, Horns Become Halos, did you play out a lot? Did you do a lot of shows?
We played a decent amount. Yeah, we play like and a lot of these places don't exist anymore, which is kind of sad. But the Sad Cafe, Rocco's, Ground Zero, played all those places. A couple other places too.
Did any of that material make it into this band, or is this all new?
So funny you ask us. So. One of the reasons why Horns Become Halos ended is we had an opportunity, maybe 2010, 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. We had an opportunity to go record with a studio in Florida. A person that was previously in a pretty well-known band that left to start their own studio gave us an opportunity. I'm not going to say names because I don't want any bad blood or anything like that.
Sure.
It was a confluence of us being young and hungry and not really understanding how things work, and not having our own stuff together because we were in no way ready. But so we went down to Florida for a couple weeks, tried to record an album, had some studio arguments,
Really?
There was a lot of stuff we hadn't figured out.
Yeah.
We were a young band. I mean, most of us were 21, 19, but Bobby and Adam are a little bit younger than we are. So we didn't really know what we were doing.
Yeah.
And each of us had an idea of how we thought it should go.
Yeah.
And we didn't iron it out until we got to the studio. And then the result is we had a failed album, essentially. We
ended up with a bunch of like half mixed songs, and a ton of them weren't finished. More than half of that album, we recorded a whole album down there, but less than half of it we released, because we just weren't happy with the end product.
Yeah.
But we learned a lot from it too. So that's why we kind of, decided to start doing things ourselves. And, I kind of trained myself to be proficient in, recording everything myself and mixing a little bit, at least to the point where, I get the point across and then we send it to a professional.
Yeah.
So we ended up taking 3 songs from our previous stuff. One of them was more around when we first started House Lights. But there's 2 songs that were supposed to be on that Horns Become Halos album, the second one, that we have pulled for this one. And there's definitely more tracks that we're going to go back and revisit. And, maybe revamp them a little bit, modernize them a little bit more, but hopefully for whatever's next, there's definitely more material to come from that project. So
is any of the Horns Become Halos stuff online, or is that all...
it's not on any streaming services. We were just talking about that the other day. Should we release it? Because looking back at your old stuff, sometimes you cringe a little bit, but there's definitely some good stuff there. So we might release it, and just probably release it under the House Lights name,
I mean, you can find it now if you search Horns Become Halos on YouTube.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. There's at least most of that first album.
There's stuff out there,
which was a much more kind of alternative rock sound.
Oh, okay.
A little bit more experimental. Not as polished by any means.
Yeah.
And, you'll hear me do some screaming on that. That's the first time I ever jumped into screaming.
Oh, no kidding.
So yeah, it's cool to go back and see, to see how far you've come and where you've been. And in the moment, we definitely had different ideas of what the music was.
Yeah.
But looking back at it, I used to be pretty embarrassed because my expectation for what I wanted to be was not what we were achieving. But looking back at that stuff, it's pretty solid. Like some of it still holds up for me.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely no longer like, oh yeah, don't listen to that. Push it off in the court. Like I'm like, no,
Right.
this is what we did. Like I'm proud of a lot of that music that we made. So.
Yeah. How did that opportunity come up where you went to Florida to record with?
We had released a full-length album with someone local here at Project 2 Studios.
Okay.
This guy Connor who we've been friends with for forever. He mixed and mastered that album for us, and then we were looking to do a second album, and we got an opportunity to work with a guitarist from a band that we all kind of liked. Unfortunately, things just didn't really work out well. You live and you learn.
Yeah. Now, what about the other guys who were in the band with you at that time?
So two of them are still with us. So we've got Adam. Adam's the drummer, and he is amazing. He's a professional drummer. He's practically every night he's off doing a different gig for. He's playing at Wally's. I think he played at Fenway.
He played at Wally's. He's played at Fenway. He played at House of Blues with Annie Brobst. Some people might have seen him. So he drums for her live.
Good.
He's got a lot of other acts that he plays out with down in the Massachusetts area.
Yeah.
He started to branch up to New Hampshire a bit more, which is good. And he's got like 5 or 6 different projects that he is either in or plays out with or does studio work with.
Yeah.
So he's pretty incredible.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then we've got Bobby, who was the guitarist back in Horns Become Halos, and he now does all the harsh screaming vocals in these new songs.
Okay.
He's also in his own project called Hotel Graffiti. Shout out. Those guys are awesome.
Absolutely.
That's a cool name.
Yeah. And then we just added our new friend Josh Noonan, who is going to be our second guitarist.
Yep.
So we're pretty stoked. He's been really jumping in, working very hard to learn the songs. He had a lot of ideas, a lot of feedback for us.
Yeah.
So we're excited, man, to bring it all together.
Excellent. Let's see. We've got a couple questions in the chat room. JFed, one of our friends from Vermont, says, have you ever thought about increasing the lengths of your beards? Yeah, you guys have a little bit longer beards than me. I keep mine very trim.
Yeah.
I don't even like having facial hair, to be honest with you, but I look better with it. But you guys have a little more length than me, but you guys don't have the, like bearding is a big thing now where you got the people with the big beards. You guys ever think about having big beards?
I mean, this is about as big as I usually let it get.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like to manage it, honestly.
Exactly.
And usually it just gets like this because of laziness, honestly.
Yeah.
A little bit of the same. So my wife hates my beard.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks good for the record.
No, everyone else does. That's the thing. But she does not like it, no matter what people say. She's like, no beard.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I have let it get longer than it is now before.
Yeah.
This is the longest I've had one for sure. It's been a little over a year.
Yeah.
But I'm actually like managing it now and taking care of it.
There you go.
So yeah, probably not much longer than this either.
Yeah.
He was a baby face before this. Back when we were doing all the other stuff.
Yeah. JFed also asks if you've ever considered, as a band, do you ever consider the potential benefits from cold bathing? That might have come up before. The ice bath. He's the ice bath guy. Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to. It'll be a social media thing we can do. We'll all jump in an ice bath. Or something.
I can't say I've ever tried it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll set. That's what we'll do. That can be one of our milestone challenges. We'll come up with something, and if we hit a certain milestone, we'll all jump in an ice bath.
The ice bucket challenge or whatever.
Yeah.
Some people swear by it. He says the health benefits are remarkable. It wouldn't be for me. The hypothermia and things like that. Yeah. Melanie La Liberty from the great state of Vermont says, I'm picking blackberries as I listen, and I want Matt to know I am sometimes waist high in shrubs and reaching into bushes up to my shoulder. Can you visualize the spiders and ticks lurking, Matt? Yes, I can, and that's horrifying. I don't go into the woods myself. I'm like the least outdoorsy human you'll ever meet. I wish I could just like teleport from one concrete structure to another. There's ticks, there's bugs, there's I guess ticks are bugs. Yeah. There's the Blair Witch. There's all kinds of things that can get you. Yeah, Bigfoot. Yeah, I mean, probably not real, but who knows? And JFed is very excited that you're open to the ice bath, and he also says, the beer and coyotes. Yeah, coyotes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're roaming around in a city. Very, very scary. Now what's going on with Sam with Always Forward? Do you have some? I know you've got the Swarmy Fest. You're involved in that, right?
So,
you're not involved in this one?
Yeah. So they're for a brief moment. They were we were in conversation. They have they got things handled.
Okay.
So they're all set there.
Oh.
I don't want to take too much from House Lights. But just real quick. Yeah. So Always Forward. I'll be kind of transitioning with how I utilize my business. I have signed on with Don't Blink Music Group as an assistant booking agent.
Really?
Which is very exciting for me. I've been talking with one of the owners, Colin, for quite a while. And he and I align very closely on our style around booking shows and promoting and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this is kind of really, they are doing a lot of things that I want to, was looking to grow Always Forward into.
Oh, cool.
So I've got a really good opportunity to kind of do that, eliminate a lot of the red tape and the uphill battle.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm very excited to be able to get the experience, and learn from people that have been doing it for a while, because it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, coming into it cold and trying to figure things out on the fly. It was a great experience. I'm very thankful for the connections I've made, and they're going to continue. Any bands that work with Always Forward, you'll have an opportunity to work with Don't Blink as well.
Excellent.
So,
and does that mean, is that the end of Always Forward?
Nope. So I'm just going to be transitioning into a different avenue, whether it be more of marketing, promotions, more of networking as a resource for bands to utilize. Still working on figuring that part out. But, definitely not the end of Always Forward.
Excellent, excellent.
Always Forward is me. It's my mentality. It's how it's my brand of how I work and try to promote bands and grow the scene. So we're just getting started.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Well, let's do this. I'd like to play. Let's play the first single. Love and Understanding. I'd love to give this a listen, and then we'll come back and chat some more. But for people who haven't heard it, when did this come out? This was
July. Is it July?
Yeah, late July.
We'll say somewhere around there.
Right, because I think when you were on the show the first time, this hadn't come out yet, and I think this was the first place it was heard publicly. But yeah, this is a great song, and sometimes I'll just play it to start the show when I'm just looking for something on days when I don't have a musical guest. This is actually one of my go-tos. I love this song.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely love this song. All right, let's give this a listen, and then we'll come back and talk some more with these guys. This is Love and Understanding. This was the first single from the band House Lights. Check this out.
I know I'm
to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria.
For delivery, call 603-782-8450.
Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town.
1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Best cocktails around.
Come in as friends and leave as family.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
WMNH, rip the knob off.
Welcome back, everybody, as we cruise into our final segment today of Matt Connarton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, also on Comcast Channel 6. If you're in Manchester, and hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe, you can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. It is Monday, August 21, 2023. I do want to remind you just quickly about tomorrow's show. It's going to be a pretty big deal. We have in the first hour tomorrow, Marianne Williamson, who is a presidential candidate. She's going to be coming in. I was just yesterday, I was watching her appearance on Bill Maher's podcast, Club Random, and I've seen her on some other big shows too. So it's a pretty big deal to have her here in studio with us. So I'm really looking forward to meeting her and talking to her tomorrow. I think Jenny's coming in for that too. She's very eager to meet Marianne Williamson. And then in the second hour, we'll have a musical guest. Two actually. Cody Pope and Byron G will be returning tomorrow. So we'll have a very busy show. Looking forward to that. But we have joining us here today in studio the members of the band House Lights. We've got Sam at the news desk, and Matt with one T is on the couch.
Yep.
The reason that's so interesting to me is when I was a kid, people would always ask me, because my name's Matt, obviously, and they would say, is that with one T or two? And I would always say two, and I'd be thinking, I wouldn't say it out loud because I'm unfailingly polite, but I would be thinking, who spells it with one T?
Yep.
You never see it with one T. And then I think it was maybe 10 years ago, I started seeing examples of Matt with one T. I never saw that when I was a kid, but it started to become a thing.
Yeah, well, and I guess, the reason I'm named Matthew with one T is my mom wanted people to call me Matthew.
Yeah.
I guess that was her reasoning. And I guess I'm named after Matthew Anne of Green Gables, which
okay.
I've never even seen it, but
yeah.
I'm named after that person.
Oh.
So the idea was, call me Matthew, not Matt. Obviously, as time goes on, and people will always call you Matt. Usually, if your name's Matthew, so
Yeah.
you know, my family generally calls me Matthew, but everyone else calls me Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so I assume Matthew is with one T.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Because well, it's funny too, because even when I was a kid, I would see Matthew with one T sometimes, but then it would always be Matt would always be with two T's.
Totally, yeah.
I think when I was working at I used to work in a music store, and I think the first time I ever remember seeing Matt with one T, I think it was Matt Nathanson. I was putting away a Matt Nathanson CD, and I think he spells it with one T, and I was like, "Oh, look, a Matt with one T. I'll be damned." And then, but since then, I've met actually several. So, but not very many.
Yeah, still more rare.
Yeah. If you have any questions or feedback or anything at all for the band, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. These guys played an acoustic song earlier for us, and we just listened to Love and Understanding, which is the first single from House Lights from the upcoming album, September 1st it's out,
Yep,
right?
September 1st, What It Means to Feel.
Yes. Looking forward to that. We have a question in the chat room. Sonia Laramie says, is someone you know?
That's my wife.
Oh, well, your wife has a question, Matt. Love the sound. Which bands have influenced the sound of your upcoming album?
I wonder. I think she knows, but I'll tell everyone else.
Yeah.
So definitely. I mean, the first growing up. I mean, my mom had great musical taste, so she would listen to Alanis Morissette, Led Zeppelin, all these sort of classic rock bands and everything. Stevie Nicks, great singers, great music. So that was kind of the first music I listened to. And then the first music that really inspired me to play guitar was Linkin Park, actually. When I remember I was 13 years old when I heard One Step Closer on the radio.
Yeah.
And that screaming part that's shut up when I'm talking to you. Obviously, the angsty 13-year-old in me was yeah, that's cool.
Right.
I want to make music like that and express myself that way. So yeah, Linkin Park, a lot of new metal, and then pop punks like Blink-182, Deftones, brand new from the kind of the emo scene style. So all those sorts of bands that you would kind of hear on anyone that would play Warped Tour, basically. It was my style of music that I listened to.
Yeah. What about you, Sam?
I mean, and again, that's why the reason we work so well together is Matt and I do have a lot of the same musical influences. Definitely Alexis on Fire has been a huge one for us.
Yeah.
They're one of those bands that melds a lot of, very harsh, aggressive sound, but also they can do the most beautiful, ballady, just, they got chimes and stuff in their music, and they can take it right down and just, bathe you in amazing sound. Just something so tender and gentle.
Yeah.
So they're a huge inspiration for me. Bands like Tool. I used to be in another metal band, so all the kind of bands back in the day, Avenged Sevenfold, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yellow Card is a huge one for me, one that I listen to quite a bit. Thursday again is another huge one for
That's
me.
where we got our name from. They have a live album called Kill the House Lights, and so that's where our name's from.
Okay.
And they're also coincidentally, there is one of the songs on the album is also a title or the name of a Thursday album.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So,
yeah, Full Collapse. It's the last song on the album.
Oh, no
it's
kidding.
also our heaviest song too. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So loosely inspired, just kind of coincidentally fell into place. But,
yeah.
Definitely a big nod to Thursday. They're amazing. I got to see them for the first time last year. And they've been playing music forever.
I was gonna say, they've been around a while.
They sounded amazing.
Yeah.
I was blown away. They sounded really good.
By the way, Miriam Banish in the chat room, she really likes that song, Love and Understanding. She said she enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Can you guys tell me a little bit about the production? I was commenting off air. The production is really good. It just what's your recording process like?
It's really the engineering all took place in my room. Basically, I have what I call the music room or the office in my house, where I just open up my computer. I've got some studio monitors. I've got an audio interface. I just plug in. I record direct into Logic for my guitars. So I know a lot of people like recording miking up an amp and getting dialing a tone that way. But I love the flexibility of just recording direct input, and then I can change the tone however I want later on. So that's what I did for this album. I'll write like placeholder drums because I'm not a drummer. I can, I know how drums should sound, but I know that's the reason why we have a great drummer is I'll just write something placeholder and then I'll send it off to him and be like, you do your thing on this. That may influence or change what I then do. So we do all the music first, and then after the main music is written, and I'll do the guitar and the bass, and then once I get the drums back, Sam and I will look at it and explore melodies and such. It's I'd say like 90% Sam, but when he comes over to record, we also did the vocals in my house for this. I'm just using a pretty standard mic, like a $100 microphone, and that's what I love about music these days too. Is like you can make something that sounds so good for so cheap.
Yeah, true.
And pretty much anyone can do it. He'll come over and we'll work on melodies. We'll explore different ideas and record it down there. And like I said, we sent it off to this guy in Argentina that did a great job mixing it all together.
Yeah, we had talked last time, Sam, about that website. What is it called again?
Soundbetter.com.
Yeah. I hadn't even heard of it. And I thought, wow, what a great concept. It's pretty amazing that that we live in an era where you can do do placeholder drums, and then you send it to the drummer, and then the drummer does that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really incredible. And then it's just it sounds really good. Is the whole album recorded with that same process? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and again, to like what Sam was saying earlier, we did a bunch of other songs too as well. So we've got stuff sitting in the pipeline that's ready to go, because I think that's one thing we've definitely realized about the music industry is that most people aren't releasing full length albums, or like that's not how they're getting their start. So it's a bit unorthodox. Obviously we've been releasing singles, and that's kind of been helping. But we have stuff planned for after this too as well. So we're gonna continue releasing music, and that's kind of how you slowly but steadily build a fan base.
Oh yeah. We live in an era when you've got so many different options as far as how you want to do that, and Chris H is in the chat room from the band Edgewise. He says, offending drummers daily. It's funny. You guys probably never imagined, how could you, that like when you were in the other band and you go to Florida with that horrible recording experience, it probably didn't occur to you, someday we'll just be able to do this ourselves.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, and again, not fully doing it ourselves, but bringing in the right people.
Well, yeah,
and building a good enough foundation to get to that point. Because if you just have a bunch of sound, doesn't mean you're ready for an album.
Right.
That's the thing with Matt, is that I've always tied into his music, because he finds a way to. It's not just a guitar riff, or it's not just everything that he writes has a feeling behind it that resonates with me, very emotionally. And like, I'll listen to 20 seconds of something he's played, and I'll immediately have melodies in my head.
Oh, no kidding.
I'll immediately have like an idea for the theme of the song, and based off of that emotion.
Yeah.
I keep a good thing going.
Yeah. And Matt, can you tell me about that guitar? That guitar sounds really good.
Yeah, it's a brand named Orangewood. They're online only. They're out of like Los Angeles. And, it's a mahogany wood. And it sounds great. I definitely took a chance on it, because they only sell online, so I didn't have a chance to try one beforehand.
Yeah.
But it was highly reviewed. I watched some YouTube reviews of it and sounded great there, so figured I'd give it a shot, and I love it.
Yeah. Excellent. No, it sounds really good. And Sam, we had talked too last time you were here about vocals, and you were what was it you said? You were learning how to do the yelling, the growling.
Yeah, I was getting my screams back, essentially. I had done, sort of developed screaming on my own back in Horns Become Halos.
Yeah.
I ended up being kind of like the primary person doing that towards the end of our band when we were playing. But I hadn't done it at all in the 12 years that 10-ish years that we had been broken up before we started working on the new project.
Yeah.
And this was an opportunity, so I started working with a clean vocal instructor last year.
Oh, right.
And then evolved into also working with a extreme vocal coach this year, because I want to be as versatile as I can. You know, the more vocalists we can have is kind of my ideal band is, you know, 3 or 4 different singers would be great to have all the harmonies, to be able to do as much of the stuff live possible as we can. So obviously we do put a lot of production into the songs. We like a lot of harmonies and, you know, kind of backing vocals. But it's been cool to see that a lot of the stuff I've worked with my amazing extreme vocal coach, Kyle Farr. He's in the band Late Nine. Shout out, dude's amazing. He just guest spotted for Motionless in White this past weekend. I got to see him in Guilford.
Oh, cool.
Dude, he was amazing. He killed it. But working with him, a lot of the stuff I've learned as far as like mouth and throat positioning and like the way that the muscles interact has also helped my clean vocals.
Really?
I feel like my falsetto and my high notes are way more crisp and easy to get to based on like, you know, kind of breaking down what's going on in the vocal tract. So they've both been amazing. Katie Gall is my clean vocal instructor. She's in Newmarket. Shout out to her as well. I wouldn't be where I am without both of them.
Wow.
You know, I'm the best that I've ever been, and I'm only, you know, trying to get better. You know, so we're not messing around with this stuff. We're ready to go.
Yeah. So you continue to go to both vocal coaches?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So I go to them regularly. You know, to just keep me honest. You know, keep me on my game. You know, trying new things. You know, hey, I heard this the other day. I mean, extreme vocals in particular right now are just, it's a quickly emerging landscape. You know, there's a new thing called the chortle that has been invented,
Really?
you know, in screaming, and there's a lot of different avenues and styles you can go down and sounds that can be made. You know, it's really, you know, people are experimenting very heavily in it right now. And it's really cool to see. So.
Did you ever, before you saw an extreme vocal coach, did you ever like hurt yourself doing that?
Didn't hurt myself. No. Maybe luckily that I didn't. You know, just I heard the sounds, and one of the ways that I'd always learned, you know, kind of taught myself how to sing was just by hearing other people's voices and trying to mimic those sounds. And that was my first experience. So, you know, just kind of went for it. One day at band practice. It's funny, there's this band, this kind of like post-rock metal band called Giant that I cannot find their music. If you have any, Matt, you need to.
I'll see.
It's like there was a brief time when we first started practicing when we were younger that they were like, we would listen to them at practice and stuff.
I feel like I've heard of them.
They were one of the first bands that I emulated the screams to. Because, you know, kind of long, drawn out, that you could just one note at a time and you could really, you know, get a sense of the feel. And so that's kind of how I learned and evolved when I was younger. And it was definitely a more kind of raw, you know, mixed vocal sound where there was a little bit of my voice behind it, that I didn't even know what I was doing. So, you know, one of the things I've worked on with Kyle is kind of walking that back, learning the fundamentals, but then rebuilding, bringing that voice back in to try to get, you know, somewhat of that sound again. You know, so the voice can do amazing things. It's pretty wild once you start breaking it down and you get to see how everything works together. But yeah, that's kind of how I came by it. I just started doing it.
Because I remember we talked too before about how one of the things that's really important if you're going to do that is just learning how to do it safely so you don't hurt yourself, because some people do.
We've seen so many great screamers lose the ability to do it over time. You know, Chino from Deftones, you know, has, you know, lost his voice and then went through, you know, re-vocal coaching and, you know, built it back up. So it's difficult to do properly, because it's not considered. I think there's kind of like you know, a little bit of taboo to it, you know, because it's not conventional. A lot of people don't do it. A lot of people don't know how to properly scream.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the new album, so that's coming out September 1st, and then do you guys have any kind of a timetable, as because you mentioned that you've already got more songs sort of ready to go? I mean, are you gonna do you have a long-term plan as far as how it's how you space it out?
I think it's important to like find the right spacing where you don't want to, you know, lose your audience, and you want to, you know, keep a steady momentum going. So, you know, I've kind of always looked at it as like, I think the speed at which we can produce music is pretty quick nowadays with all the technology and everything. And so I my goal would be to maybe release a single every month or so.
Yeah.
Even after the album comes out, I think it's easily doable. Whether that be things we can experiment with too. One month it might be a cover, it might be an original song, something like that.
Yeah. Do you guys do any? Do you guys know any covers that you've played together? Or?
We haven't done anything officially. We actually just started working on potentially a cover that we might be releasing later on. I think we want to try to find like the right song to cover. It's whether that be something that is brand new, recent, in a totally different genre that we want to put our spin, our style onto, or take something that's a much older song from some like maybe Kiss or The Who or Aerosmith or something, some classic rock band and put a modern spin on it too.
Yeah. Very cool. Now what's the so you guys don't have any shows coming up, right? Because you're still kind of putting the band together. But you said, Sam, I think you said like end of fall.
I would like to be playing shows by end of fall, and that's that's a very loose timetable.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to wrangle band members.
Oh, absolutely.
Get everybody together. So, we're going to be doing as much as we can to try to get ready in time for that. But we'll see if we get there.
We want to do it right too. We don't want to go out there and be a colossal failure. We want to make sure like we're really tight and we give the audience what they deserve.
Yeah, we're not looking to jump on and do any 12-minute sets and that's all we got.
Right.
Stretching out to 20 just talking.
Yeah.
We want to come ready with a good at least 25-30-minute set that we can play start to finish. That's gonna give people the experience of the album. That's how it's intended to be heard and played. Obviously, there'll be some variation for live shows, but we want to be able to back up the production that we have and the quality of the music. So,
Adam Boss in the chat room.
Adam Bossy, that's our drummer.
Adam Bossy.
That's not our drummer.
We know him.
Oh, okay.
We go way back.
He says that you have always been one of the most talented musicians he's ever met.
I appreciate that.
Very nice.
I love you, Adam.
Although he did spell it with 2 T's, so maybe he means me.
Well,
no, he definitely doesn't.
Can't win them all.
He definitely doesn't mean me. No, he means you. Yeah, no, very nice. So he's someone you've worked with, or you?
Yeah, he's a guitarist as well. I think
okay.
He might have briefly been in Horns Become Halos for a few moments.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a couple of lineup changes, but and we went to high school together. So.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Is he in a band currently?
I don't think so.
Okay, okay, very good. Now, where should before we run out of time, and I do want to, we'll end the show with I'm going to play "No Longer Myself" again, the newest single. But where should people go online? What should they know about to keep up with everything you guys are doing?
Yeah, there's a bunch of places. I mean, check us out on all the normal socials. So we've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/houselights. We got a TikTok account. We've got Instagram. Pretty much everything is at Houselights. We try to, cover our bases there and get that name.
Yeah.
But you can also go to our link tree, which is Linktree. It's tr.ee/houselights. And that links you to all of our other websites. We've got merch in too. We just got shirts made too. So if you want to help support the band, feel free to buy a shirt and buy a sticker too. And absolutely, that'll help us out a lot.
Oh, very cool.
We'll be streaming on all platforms. Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, SoundCloud.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever. Any other
you
ones?
name it. There's a million. There's some. I have no idea what they
are. Mary LeMay in the chat room says, "Matt, call me." She spelled it with 1 T, so she means you.
Oh gosh.
I don't know if you know. Oh, Mike LeMay. I'm sorry, not Mary LeMay.
Mike LeMay. I know who that is too. I used to be in a band with him.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. Well, maybe he wants to be in House Lights.
Yeah.
Melanie La Liberty is asking, is there an OnlyFans page or a fans only page? I don't know what the difference is.
Not OnlyFans.
Something
Not yet.
Something to think about. Oh, and your wife did share the link tree in the chat room. And Eichmann Breezy and the Michaels Law says, #Matt, that's right of us. We are from Greensboro, North Carolina, and Ron is a cool guy from us. I think that's a comment from the first hour that showed up late. Okay, well, very good. Oh, and Jenny shared the link to your Facebook in there.
Nice. Thank you, Jenny.
Well,
Thanks for
gentlemen,
Sonia.
thank you both so much, Sam and Matt from House Lights. This has been wonderful. And we're going to close out the show in a moment with the new single, No Longer Myself. We'll give that another spin. And if you miss any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org and at my website, mattconnerton.com. So if you miss it, these guys played live acoustic earlier on the show. It was really cool. And don't forget, tomorrow on the show, we have Marianne Williamson in the first hour and Cody Pope and Byron G joining us in the second. But let's give this another spin. No Longer Myself. The newest single from the band House Lights. And guys, thank you again so much.
Thank you for having us.
You got it. All right. And we'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.